Good morning, my friends. Up bright and early this morning because I am headed to Brisbane for some client work, but also very kindly I have been invited to lunch at Aunty, the new Tassus Group hotel in James Street in Brisbane. So David and I are going to go and have a lovely lunch after our work morning. Aunty is being very, very generous with our lunch, so I am actually really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. It's kind of, my understanding is it's kind of, dare I say, fusion, but a bit Thai, a bit Chinese, I think. But we will see, and then I will be able to report back. And if David lets me, I will take some footage while we're at lunch. But otherwise, it should just be a nice trip. We will listen to some. When we road trip, we always listen to. At the moment, we're always listening to The Rest Is History. We are nerds, but apparently everyone is a nerd because this wasn't it the #1 podcast in the world last year? So apparently everyone's a nerd, which just absolutely fills me up to know so many people are listening to history podcasts. Anyway, you can see I'm still deciding about paint, but I'm pretty sure I've leaned away from the pink. It just never quite felt right in this room, and it always made this couch just kind of like murky green, which is not the vibe. Whereas that beautiful sort of sage green or pistachio green, I think maybe not on camera, but it does make the couch look much nicer, a much nicer green. Oh, David's home, which means it's time to go to Brisbane. Look at this thing. Arts and crafts style. From the last time you will see patches on this wall. This room is getting painted this weekend. I am so excited to make a couple of big steps towards this room being finished. Well, it will be furnished and painted by the end of this weekend, which is so exciting. I've not been able to really use this room yet. The first priority was getting the sofa bed, so I did that very quickly. But there's been basically nothing else in this room, and I haven't been able to really use it at all. And so a couple of things are happening. So I will repaint it, but also this beautiful thing has come into my life. So that is, I guess, that's my storage. So I've got my yoga mat in there, I've got some craft supplies in there, but it's an old gentleman's wardrobe. None of this is organised yet, but if you look here, they've got all these gorgeous. That one died, but then. So this beautiful cabinet has been in my family. Well, I remember this being my brother's wardrobe when he was a little boy, so it's been in the family for at least 30-something years. And Dad, I think he bought it at auction. And he thinks it's 1930s and it's maple wood. It's absolutely beautiful. Anyway, so that has come in here, which meant that I could unpack the very last box, which had all of my craft supplies in it. That will just be an ongoing project to get that a bit organised in there. And then, as well as painting it this weekend, I have found myself a table for in here. And I really ummed and ahed because I was thinking I would just get a table to go here along this wall here and have that beautiful light. So that's where the cupboard is. And so I had sort of just been thinking of a desk. But I saw, I'll pop it here. I saw this inspiration image with a round table in kind of, not like this is not my office. I've got an office, so this is supposed to be more like a kind of study salon, like personal little lounge room. It's supposed to just be my room to do whatever I want in here, which is mostly studying, reading, some craft. So it's supposed to be multi-purpose, and I thought, why not put a round table in here instead of a desk up against the wall, because it was kind of getting all these rectangular pieces of furniture pushed up against the wall, and I just had this idea of if I put something circular in here, it would really change that. It would sort of just look way more intentional, I think. I did so much research trying to find a nice table that wasn't getting into the 4 figures. And there are some beautiful tables, but so much of it now is mass-produced and veneer, and it's still like $2,000 or $3,000. I can't get my head around that. I can't justify that. Anyway, I did many circuits of the local op shops, and we went to an antique centre in Brisbane yesterday, which I'll tell you about in a tick. There was no circular tables. Anyway, I came home last night and I'm actually going to recap on yesterday first, because yesterday was such a lovely day. So yesterday we went to Brisbane. We had some work to do for clients and getting some shipments off and some new orders, which is always very fun. And then we had lunch at Aunty, which I thoroughly recommend. We had I think it was called the Eat More Banquet, and it was perfect for two. It was a lot of food, but it wasn't, it wasn't so much food that you couldn't get through it. But we were very well fed. We were there for like 2 hours, and it was delicious. So I was wrong. It is not Thai at all. It is definitely modern Chinese. And I did not take really any footage of inside because it's really sort of dark and moody, which was great. But I will link below some of the photos that I took so you can go and check out the menu on my Instagram. But yes, I do thoroughly recommend Aunty. We both really rated it very highly. So congratulations to the Tassus group on that. What a triumph. And on our way into Brisbane, on the way to our warehouse, we were going kind of near Paddington, and we went, oh, let's just go have a quick look at the Paddington Antique Centre, which I think is now called Empire Revival. And so we popped in, we were like, we've got sort of 20 minutes, we can't stuff around. We're looking for the circular table, and we are also looking for kind of a station that we could turn into a coffee station in our kitchen, because our kitchen doesn't actually have a lot of bench space with PowerPoints. And so we had a bunch of appliances sitting on our island bench, which I know doesn't bother some people, but I like having nothing that has to sit on the island bench. There's always stuff that's on the island bench, but I don't like it being the home of anything. I think that's just how things get really cluttered. We knew we needed kind of a little station somewhere else that would mean that we could just disperse our appliances a little bit more. Anyway, that has been quite hard to find. It's taken us a couple of months to find something, but we did find, I think, the perfect piece yesterday. David spotted it in, the back corner of the antique centre, and it's perfect. And so we did that, and then we had a beautiful lunch via our warehouse, getting some shipments off, and then potted around James Street. And then I came home, and I jumped on my computer that last night, and on Marketplace there was this Queen Anne dining set. So it was a table with 5 chairs, and the chairs in particular need a lot of love. And it started off at quite a high price, and I just went, no, I just can't. I don't want 5 dining chairs, especially ones that I have to do up. I just want the table. And I'd sort of forgotten about it. Anyway, because I had saved it, I think I got an alert to say that she had reduced the price, and it was now $200 for the set. And she would look at delivering. So I messaged her and I said, would you sell the table separately, and what would it cost to deliver it? And she said she'd deliver it for $25, which is very, very fair. And she would be happy to sell them separately, but the table was most of the price, which totally makes sense. Anyway, we settled on that, and I'm doing it. I found my table. I don't know if I will keep the chairs in the end. I will see what the condition of them all is like. I don't really need 5 chairs. Well, I probably couldn't fit 5 chairs in here, and I don't want it to look like a dining room. So I will see. I might keep 2 of the chairs. I might either sell them or donate them to somebody who can do them up and wants to do them up. But I am absolutely thrilled because this is a genuine antique Queen Anne table. The detailing is so beautiful. The condition is pretty good, and I know my dad can help me restore it. It was absolutely meant to be. I'm so glad I didn't go and buy something new. I was also looking at something darker, but now that the maple wood's in here, I'm glad I didn't go like a really dark walnut or something. I think it's just all going to look so lovely. And then I can use this room. So you will see this room with all of its furniture in the next, well, it'll be in this video. You'll see it in this video. So stay tuned for that. And I will show you some of the other bits and pieces of furniture that we have bought in the last couple of weeks and been given. So this, as I say, this maple wood cabinet was gifted to us from my dad, and he gave us something else as well. And then we bought a coffee station, and I think that's all we've bought so far, apart from this table and the coffee station. Oh, I'm so happy. It's really coming together now. And then I think we will cool it for a while and work on the backyard, because that is a good thing to do once it starts to cool down, so that in spring we actually have a usable outdoor space, which we're dying for. Just can't wait to be able to, after 3 years of living in an apartment, having an outdoor dining table is just going to be such a joy. So all lovely things here. I had a lovely day yesterday, and then I've just had a busy day sort of catching up today. I try not to do a full day of work on Fridays anymore, and just choose to work a little bit harder during the week so that I have more flexibility on a Friday. But because we were mostly out of the office yesterday, I had a bit of catching up to do. So we'll finish this, off to the gym, and then tonight my table arrives. So actually, I don't think you've seen this yet. So this is, again, probably 1930s Art Nouveau French oak cabinet that my dad has restored for us. Oh, it's so beautiful. But this is our new coffee station. It's nothing completely spectacular, but it's turn of the century pine, and it's a meat safe. So you can see here, this is wire. So I can see my beautiful cups that I bought in Egypt. And so I'm going to talk to Dad and see if he thinks it really is as old as they said. They said it's turn of the century. In which case we'll keep, the original patina and things, because we think that that's important. But if it's actually not, and it's, 1960s or 70s, then I will probably restore it. Oh, here's Guy. I'll probably strip it back and also add a power socket, a power plug at the back, just so we can hide some of these cords a bit more easily. But that is our new coffee station. So happy with that. And then if I head upstairs to our room, we were really missing, we have this, oh, it's quite dark up here. So even though we have our walk-in wardrobe up here, I just felt like we needed something between these two windows. And even though we don't necessarily need the storage, it's actually already been really handy. And so Dad, again, bless him, thoroughly recommend if you can organize it, thoroughly recommend having an antiques restorer for a dad. So he gifted us this cedar chest of drawers, which have these just beautiful patinaed brass handles. And next thing I'm looking for is a little hat stand. And then I can just put like a seasonal hat here. So this will be my summer hat. Then I can put one of my spring hats on. But yes, so you can see that I can zhuzh this up a little bit. And then these lovely shutters open up. So absolutely love this. And just every time I look at it, just the details are so lovely. So I'm really keeping the bedroom as kind of low priority because I kind of want to get some of those communal spaces done first. And this is the new part of the house. So this was built only a couple of years ago. And it's totally fine. You know, it's like really nothing needs to happen up here. Of course I want to put my stamp on it. I will probably paint it up here. I will probably add some molding to these very plain walls. I'll swap out some of the lights and all that sort of thing. But it's very low priority up here because it's a beautiful new functional space. So they are the pieces that have come into the house in the last couple of weeks. And it's starting to come together. I can try and show you down outside actually from up here. I don't know if you can hear okay, because it's quite breezy today. But this is the backyard. So you can see in the back corner over there is a chicken coop that's going to come out. Somebody's probably going to pick that up this weekend. We're like, it's free, but you have to take it out. And then these veggie gardens are kind of in exactly the wrong position. They get almost no sunlight. And so we're going to put them over by the chicken coop, which will get sort of lovely morning sun up until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it's in shade, which is absolutely ideal. Some of these trees will need to come out. They're planted far too close together. These trees here, there's a whole row of them. There's like 6 or 7 trees. You can't even see the difference between most of them because they are just planted way too close together. Gosh, it is windy today. So yes, at least half of those trees will actually have to be removed because they will start to strangle one another. And then where you can see this lonely camping chair and into that part that is currently covered in pebbles, that will be our outdoor dining space. And then I'm thinking we will screen off where that garden shed is with, you know, a screen with sort of rambling rose or something, and it will just be such a little beautiful garden room. And then you can't see, oh yeah, you can see. So straight down there is our washing line, which is beautiful northern sunlight, a water tank. Always full of ideas, always full of projects, but have made some really fun progress in the last couple of weeks. And you can tell how excited I am to get this room of mine finished, so I can use it. I don't know if you can tell, but you're actually on my table right now. We are here. We are in a painted room. It was not an easy job, and I can see some patches. The weekend was so wet, and I underestimated how much that would affect the painting. It just didn't dry, and it in parts dried a bit splotchy. So I will need to go over a couple of bits, a couple of areas to fix them up, but it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I think it looks great, and I am so happy with the color. I loved the pink a lot, but I am glad that I went with green. It's just a softer room for it. So I will give you a little sneak peek of this room in a sec. it is furnished, but it is certainly not decorated. So you can see there's nothing on the wall. That will all be paintings and things, but it's coming together. I can use it. I have used this room all week. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I thought I would run you through just a few bits and bobs that I'm enjoying. I did a bit of a Mecca order. I've been using La Roche-Posay sunscreen for years and years and years and really like it, but accidentally picked up the tinted version and not a fan. Not a fan. I realized lots of people love it. I couldn't stand it. Like, I would just not put it on, and then I wasn't wearing sunscreen. So I thought about just getting back to just going and buying my other La Roche-Posay. But I had heard this product at Mecca. Are we going to stay zoomed in? We are. Which is their To Save Face 50+ SPF Brightening Sun Serum. I'd heard it was great, and so I wanted to try it. And the reason I wanted to try it is because it has niacinamide and vitamin E, I think. It doesn't say. I think it's vitamin E in the formula. So in the morning, all I need to do is put on some moisturizer and then this, and that's it. And I've been a real fan of it so far. I really like it. So it's a really high SPF plus, plus a few little bits and pieces extra. And I don't wear makeup every day and like the makeup that for the most part, like the makeup that I have. And so tinted sunscreen is just not for me. I've decided I don't want, and I think that CC creams and BB creams and all of those that have SPF in them are not strong enough. I think you need a really strong sunscreen, and to sort of prioritize that over a good sort of base that happens to have sunscreen in it. That's my theory anyway. And then I've also been using the Aribe anti-humidity spray. I'm not sure how different this is to a regular hairspray. I will keep trying it. I do think it has significantly improved how much my hair has been fluffing. I think I've adjusted back to a lower humidity environment. I've just had to kind of relearn how to style my hair again. Honestly, in my 20s, I would just wake up and my hair looked like better than this every day. And now I have to I choose to spend time on it, which is annoying, but so I am trialing this, and it's obviously a good product. It's quite expensive, and as I say, I'm not sure how different it is to just a regular hairspray, so I will do a bit more research on that. But I have been styling my hair and then just a light sort of spritz of this, just especially on top of my head, which is where I get really frizzy, and around here I sort of get bulk. But I'm having my hair cut tomorrow, so that might change, because Kenny, my hairdresser in Brisbane, is a very talented stylist, and I tend to be able to say like, oh, there's something's going on here, and he just fixes it. So that is what, there are a couple of bits of, some products that I've been enjoying using. And then reading. So I have been reading a lot for my study program, but I have to admit this week has been an off week. I blame hormones, which is fine, I can do that, right? I worked with this wonderful coach for a while, Monique Took, and she said something about during this week, it's better for like big picture and dreaming and all of that sort of world. It's not so good for getting shit done. And this week I'm really feeling that. I think she was really spot on with that. I have come up with this plan of testing this business idea that I've been thinking about for the best part of a year. And I just really want to test the viability of it. And this week it sort of has fallen into place, and I know what I need to do, but getting stuff done has been such a slog. So I'm giving myself a bit of grace to just lean into that. It's also my birthday week, so I'm actually taking tomorrow, which is Friday, off. My birthday is on Saturday, but tomorrow we are going to Brisbane and I'm having my hair cut, and we are going for a fabulous, long, lazy Italian lunch at the 203, and we might catch up with some friends for drinks before we head back around 6 o'clock. So that will be a lovely day, and means that this week's been a little bit of a write-off. I've got what I needed to get done, but not much beyond that. So I have also just given myself grace when I realised last night, Wednesday night, that I was just not going to have the focus to do any meaningful study. And so I have not, so this week was going to be about the Gothic Revival movement. But next week will be about the Gothic Revival movement instead. So I kept picking up books that to read in bed. So I always like to have books that I'm just reading for fun. And I just kept choosing these books that turned out to be really not heavy, but needed a lot of focus. One book that I highly recommend, it's fantastic, is this book, Falling Rocket. So this came up when I searched for John Ruskin in my library catalogue for my study, but this book came up, and I was really intrigued, so I decided to borrow it. So Falling Rocket, James Whistler, John Ruskin, and the Battle for Modern Art. So I didn't know this story, but apparently John Ruskin reviewed James Whistler and absolutely tore him to shreds, which he did have a tendency to do. And my understanding, having only gone through the first few chapters of this book so far, my understanding is that Whistler takes him to court and kind of wins, but absolutely kind of ruins himself in the process. And I had no idea about any of this. This is a bit embarrassing. Well, maybe it's not embarrassing, but I can never remember the difference between Turner and Whistler. I always get them mixed up. So maybe another study sprint just on those two artists so I can work out what the difference is and try and remember it. But maybe I thought that this story applied to Turner, but Ruskin loved Turner. So anyway, a bit of art history. This is great, and I just found this at my local library. But I keep wanting to make notes about it, so it's not really a good bedtime read. So I'll probably just set aside a few hours on the weekend and read that instead of trying to read it in bed. And then this one was even worse. So this one is The Life You Want by Adam Phillips. I had not heard of this book, this author, but apparently he's quite a big deal, especially in the psychology world, and writes these fantastic essays. And I can attest that he writes fantastic essays because I got through half of one last night at about 10:30 and went, I can't give this the brain space it needs right now. Again, I need to read this during the day as a proper like study. So again, not a great bedtime book, but one I will absolutely read and report back on. I had to return it to the library, but I did read Curtain by Agatha Christie. So my cousin is an Agatha Christie nut. I say with all love. And when we were talking about what we were reading recently, she said, I'm doing another Agatha Christie read through. Agatha Christie wrote 66 books. So my cousin just occasionally loves to just read all of them. Chronologically, of course. And she said she was on Curtain, which is Inspector Poirot's last story. I had never heard of it. And it made me realise that even though I would say, I love Agatha Christie, I could probably name like 6 of her 66 books. And most of the books that I have read have a film adaptation or a small screen adaptation. And so I can remember them because I probably read them and watched them. I would have thought that I'd read, you know, lots of Agatha Christie, but on reflection, I have not. So if you're like me and you say you love Agatha Christie, I recommend going to the library or your bookshop and just choosing one you haven't actually read, because I feel like there's probably, the best ones are not well known, you know? Like Curtain was really good. So anyway, Agatha Christie, how inspired, how utterly unique to recommend Agatha Christie. And then last night, when I realised that I just kept picking up the wrong books, I picked up Possession, A.S. Bryant's book that was written, I believe, in the 90s. And is it really light? No. No, it's not. Apparently, that's just not what I am going to read. I'm not going to find a light, easy to read book. It reminds me, so I just read the first chapter and then I went to sleep. But it reminds me already a little bit of The Secret History, Donna Tartt's fantastic sort of high academia set novel. It reminds me a little bit of that. And I didn't realise, I don't know why, but I didn't realise until I picked this one up that in the front cover of these vintage classics, they have twinned a modern classic with an established classic. So you can read them sort of in tandem, well, I assume in order. So for example, Crime and Punishment and Ripley's Game, or Middlemarch and Possession, or Gulliver's Travels and Atomized, Oliver Twist and Trainspotting. That's an interesting study on youth. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was cool. So I'm reading this at the moment, and oh no, you're sitting on it. Can I do this without upsetting the horse cart too much? I'm just a little bit shorter now. So the other book that I have on my reading list, but I am waiting until I get to my study of William Morris in a couple of weeks, is this book also by A.S. Bryant. And Byatt? I wonder how you say her name. Byatt. Byatt? No, Byatt, surely. Anyway, this is the story. Oh, it's got beautiful photography and paintings and things in it. Anyway, it is the story of William Morris and Mariano Fortuny as, well, I don't really know how they interlink because I haven't read the book yet, but they somehow interlink. So that's what I'm reading at the moment. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. Would you like to see this room now that it has somewhat come together? Of course you would. Of course you would. So this is how the room is starting to look. Let me show you. You're in, I think, every part of this vlog. So this is the Maplewood. Oh, look at all of these presents for my birthday. It's so sweet. So this is the Maplewood. And this, excuse everything on it, is the table. So look at this. Look at these legs. Look. And this beautiful scallop detail. And it actually extends. So if I've got a big project, I can extend it out. I've got nothing to read, she says. And then, oh gosh, these are the tables. They look like something out of a horror film. That's actually not even the worst one. So I think I'll get a quote for recovering a couple. But you can see they really do need a lot of work. And I think I'll just have 2 or 3 around this table. But yes, I'm very happy with, it's actually probably still 2 shoved up in the corner. And that's annoying, but I'll work that out. I'll probably get something put up put into the lower corner there. I actually think a lovely pendant light hanging down over the table would be beautiful. And then you've already seen this guy. It really does not show up well on camera, I tell you. It's actually green. Oh well. And then these will go over the couch. So these are a series of 1950s Marie Claires I bought in France probably 15 years ago. And I can't believe I'm old enough to say things like that. And then that's actually my sewing box acting as a very temporary little side table. So you can see there's paintings that will go there, probably paintings or artwork that will go there, another one that will go there. I don't think I'll add a rug in here. This is actually really lovely carpet. I'm not sure yet. And just keep styling it up. I actually don't mind these white shears. They came with they were already here. But they kind of add this nice diffused light in here. I'm not sure, I would have hung them higher. Not sure, we'll see. There it is. There is the newly green salon, as David keeps calling it. I think kind of to make fun of me, but I like it. I like this being a salon. So next adventures will be mostly out in the yard, I think. It's time that got some love. The chicken coop was indeed removed last weekend, so we can move our veggie garden beds, and then I can start building my veggie garden, which is great. And then I think David will want to, as soon as possible, add in a fire pit and an outdoor table, which I'm all for. I think that's great. Even though it is starting to get cold, although today is like 31 degrees. But I think that is the last of those sorts of days for at least 6 months. So I am going to go and get to work to finish up for the week so I can take tomorrow off and have a bit of a birthday spoily kind of weekend with some gardening. And I will see you next week, where we are talking about... What are we talking about next week? Oh, I know. So next week we are talking about how developing taste requires subtraction, because discernment needs to be about removing layers. So that sounds very abstract, but it won't be. I will, as always, make it very practical and connected to building the lives that we love to live. So I will see you next week, and then I will see you for a sort of chatty vlog like this in a fortnight. Okay, bye.